In this video, we'll briefly explain the slippery slope fallacy and then look at an example where Australian Senator Cory Bernardi links marriage equality to polygamy and bestiality. Slippery slope is an argument that falsely assumes that one thing must lead to another, and given that knowledge, the first thing should not be done. This argument avoids addressing the first topic and usually claims without evidence that it will lead to a very controversial endpoint that not many people would want to align with. An example of this argument being, you shouldn't ever gamble because as soon as you do it once, you won't be able to stop and you will gamble all your money away. The example is a slippery slope argument, as it is possible to engage in recreational gambling once or every so often without getting addicted and losing all your money. The usual counter to this argument is to demand evidence supporting the link between topics. Let's look at our example with Australian Senator Cory Bernardi.
If we are prepared to redefine marriage so that it can suit this latest criteria, and the criteria is that two people who love each other should be able to get married irrespective of their gender, and if they're or if they're in a sexual relationship. What is the next step? The next step, quite frankly, is having three people that love each other should be able to enter into a permanent union endorsed by society, or four people, or any other type of relationship that takes place. Now, for those who will say that I'm being alarmist in this, there is, the polyamory community, I'm not sure if that's exactly how it's pronounced, who were very disappointed when the Greens had to distance themselves from their previous support for numerous people to be able to get together and say we want to enter into a permanent union. They were disappointed because they were misled that this was about marriage equality, opening up to all people that loved each other. There are even some creepy people out there, and I say creepy, who are afforded, unfortunately, a great deal more respect than I believe they should, who say that it's okay to have consensual sexual relations between humans and animals, will that be a future step?
Bernardi begins by asserting that the next step following the legalization of same-sex marriage is to legalize polygamy, allowing multiple partners to be legally married. He attempts to justify this statement by referring to the polyamory community, who he says believe marriage equality to include the legalization of polygamy and will push for the legalization of polygamy in the future if same-sex marriage is made legal. He then proceeds to extend this argument to the topic of bestiality by claiming that there are people who participate in so-called consensual sexual relations with animals and that marriage equality will ultimately lead to this narrow population claiming similar rights. It is important to note that in this scenario, Bernardi makes no direct argument against same-sex marriage, but rather argues against issues he claims will ultimately arise from marriage equality laws being passed. For this argument to hold any ground, there must be evidence provided by Bernardi which sufficiently links the progression of same-sex marriage to polygamy and bestiality. However, failing to do this, Bernardi has committed a slippery slope fallacy by simply suggesting that one event will lead to another and then another without providing any logical or factual evidence base.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for weekly videos and be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video.